most impressive stretch of gridstone in the Derbyshire Peaks. And although mountain rescue are experts at getting injured climbers and walkers off its most inaccessible crags, they often rely on the Helimed team to whisk them the final few miles to hospital. Today, climber Mark Stone has fallen the height of 3 double-decker buses almost 40 feet onto rocks and lived. Helimed 98 has been scrambled. People who survive such a long fall can suddenly deteriorate and die.
Fallen Alpha, 15 metres, that's going to hurt a left.
Finding a casualty from 500 feet is difficult.
Oh, there's somebody waving down there, can you see him?
Yeah, they're trying. They are just waving.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. Oh, this looks like the meeting point. Got somebody in a HV back up here. Right.
HV is high visibility. A dash of day glow up here usually means someone's in trouble.
There's somebody in a HV sat up on the rock.
This is the closest the helicopter can get. If Mark does suddenly deteriorate, he's a long way from the chopper, down a boulder-strewn slope, and paramedic Kate Dry knows it. In climbing language, this rock face is described as very severe. Mark's an experienced climber. He knows he's seriously hurt, but he's willing himself to be calm.
Leading the climb, straight up that slab, went up no problem. Getting up just to where there's a bit sticking out and hadn't got any gear in at that point. Came back off, landed on the ledge, but then toppled backwards and came back over off it, so hit himself quite a few times on the way down.
Mountain Rescue know this is a serious incident. Among the 14 volunteers are 2 doctors.
We're getting the next phase ready, which will be to get the stretcher, which is a special bell stretcher that we use, essentially because it's indestructible, and then a vacuum mattress, which is a full body splint.
Mark was tackling the face of stanage with Angela Paul. Now Angela has to alert his friends and family. She's trying her best not to give away the seriousness of the situation.
Alright mate, see you shortly. Alright then, bye.
Mark's in danger. The team know adrenaline can often carry injured climbers through the minutes after a serious fall.
Does it make any difference at all, do you think? Shoulders just getting worse.
But his pain is worsening, and the team can't rule out a spinal injury.
This is Stanage Edge in Derbyshire. Every year, thousands of people come here to climb. That rock face there is the Manchester Buttress, and climber Mark Stones, who we heard about earlier, had almost reached the top when he fell.
Despite plunging 40 feet onto rocks, Mark is alive, but he's in severe pain, and mountain rescue doctors fear he may have damaged his spine. These peaks claim lives every year, but many, like Mark, regard the risk as part of the thrill of taking on some of Europe's best climbs. They're philosophical when an accident happens.
You can limit the dangers, I guess, just by being as careful as you can. But yeah, it is a dangerous sport. But there's also a thrill that goes along with it, which is why we do it.
Just put this collar on here. Alright mate.
You come this side or...
Mark will be immobilised for his flight to hospital.
What we can do with just as many of you as possible. What we do is form 2 parallel lines and then pass the stretcher between us.
But the pain is increasing.
Has that morphine had any effect, do you think? Not a great deal. That's still...
The shoulders are getting really, really bad now.
Okay.
Paramedic Kate usually works in the gently rolling hills around urban Wakefield. This is an unfamiliar emergency for her.
Just kind of stood back really and let these guys do it because they're the experts. We've got quite a tight team, so I'm just carrying shoes down the hill.
There's never any shortage of volunteers when it comes to rescuing victims of climbing accidents up here. Everyone knows they could be needing help tomorrow.
And move. Nice and steady, nice and slow. There's no rush. Nobody wants to see anybody get hurt, and when somebody is misfortunate, they do tend to rally together, and we're all fortunate to have people come and assist us with the incidents that we deal with.
For all its beauty, The Peak National Park begins in the outskirts of industrial Sheffield, and today that's good news for the Helimed team's patient. At 150 miles an hour, Mark will be landing at the Northern General Hospital in less than 5 minutes.
Mend. Now let's get back to the Derbyshire Peak District, where a very enthusiastic climber is desperate to get back to the rock face.
Mark Stones has been flown to Sheffield's Northern General Hospital with multiple injuries after surviving a fall that would have killed most climbers. But he's not out of the woods yet. Over the next few days, surgeons operate on his shattered leg and shoulder. But despite falling 40 feet from the forbidding Manchester buttress in the heart of the Peak District, they can find little else wrong with him. Back on the rock face, Mark's climbing buddy Angela Paul will never forget the day Mark fell.
He landed on the ledge and was like this for a couple of seconds, and I thought he was going to be fine. Then all of a sudden he just tumbled backwards, just stumbled over, somersaulted a couple of times, and then hit the bottom with an almighty crack.
It's 6 months since Mark had his accident, and now he's returning to Stanage Edge for the first time.
I climbed the first bit, the first bit of the climb, got to the ledge, got to the second bit, to the crack. I had one hand here, the other hand at the top. It was wet, so I hand off to get a bit of grip. And next time I was falling. I think I was tumbling back. I could see black as I was tumbling down. And then I felt my face smash, and saw my nose and I thought, well, I should be dead or unconscious, but I'm not. And I sort of got up and I come and sat down. I took my shoe off, I saw my foot, and I knew it was broke.
All I could see was all this blood coming from his face, and I thought, oh, head injury, and then he said, oh, my foot really hurts, my knee really hurts, and a lot of the blood from his face was actually because he'd bitten through his knee, as it turned out. So,
So as you fell, your teeth actually hit your
neck? When I hit the ground, yeah, that's when I felt the smash.
The Derbyshire Mountain Rescue volunteers know this area inside out, so as soon as Angela spoke to them, they were on their way.
as soon as I said we're just next to Manchester buttress, they knew exactly where to come. And it was brilliant because we saw them pull up and they came running up the hill, which amazed me. They had two massive, great big rucksacks and they were running. I'd walked up here and nearly had a coronary when I got here.
Very few people who fall 40 feet onto rocks survive without a major disability. But the prompt medical treatment he received from mountain rescue doctor Steve Rowe and his colleagues probably made a big difference to his recovery.
When we got to see Mark, he'd actually walked a little way from the edge, but said his heel was very, very painful, couldn't rest it on the floor, which made me suspect he had a fractured heel bone, which later turned out to be the case. He also dislocated his shoulder and had a nasty gash on his knee, which I think he got from his teeth going into it as he fell.
Hopefully your injuries are certainly on the mend, but hopefully you can get the shoulder back to full fitness. Has it put you off climbing, or are you going to climb again?
Go back, once I get it sorted out,
So you'll be leading him from now on out.